When you think about your life, what truly comes to mind? Most people never stop long enough to ask that question. They wake up, go to work, take care of their responsibilities, scroll through their phones, and call that living. But that's not living, that's existing. And I want you to hear me right now. Life doesn't happen to you. Life happens for you. Every challenge, every loss, every heartbreak, every moment of frustration, it's all shaping you, preparing you, pushing you toward the person you're meant to become. The problem is most people get stuck in the story of their pain and never find the meaning behind it. Meaning is what transforms suffering into strength. When I was a kid, we didn't have much. There were days we couldn't even afford food. I remember one Thanksgiving, a stranger knocked on our door and brought us dinner. My father was angry, embarrassed. But I remember thinking how beautiful that a stranger would care enough to feed my family. That moment changed my life. It made me decide that no matter what, I was going to build a life where I could help others. It was about the meaning. That experience taught me that pain can become power when you decide to make it your purpose. Your life changes the moment you make a real decision. Not when you say, I'll try. Not when you say, I should. But when you say, I must. Most people never make that shift. They say they want a better life, but they're not hungry for it. Real change doesn't come from wanting. It comes from a must. If you're not getting what you want in life, it's because you haven't turned your shoulds into musts. The moment you do, changes. Because when something becomes a must, you find a way. You become resourceful. You discover power inside you that you didn't even know existed. Let me ask you something. What's the story you've been telling yourself about your life? Because your story is shaping your reality. Your story determines what you believe is possible, what you tolerate. Some people's stories are limitation. I'm not good enough. I don't have time. I don't have money. But those aren't facts. They're beliefs. And beliefs can be changed. Keep telling yourself the same disempowering story. You're going to live the same disempowering life. But if you change your story, you change your life. Story you tell yourself becomes the script you live by. Every person you admire has rewritten their story. They've faced fear, failure, rejection, and they've chosen to give it a different meaning. It's not what happens to you that matters. It's the meaning you attach to it. If you see something as the end, it will be the end. But if you see it as a beginning, it will be the start of something extraordinary. Life is happening for you, not to you. When you shift your focus from blame to learning, from pain to growth, everything changes. Condition your mind the same way you condition your body. If you want a strong body, you train it daily. If you want a strong mind, you do the same. You feed it powerful thoughts, inspiring ideas, empowering beliefs. You don't let fear, doubt, or negativity run the show. You take charge. The problem is most people feed their mind junk. They focus on what's missing, what's wrong, what they can't control. But where focus goes, energy flows. If you focus on problems, you'll find more problems. If you focus on possibilities, you'll find solutions. Focus is the ultimate power. You can't always control what happens. You can always control what you focus on and what it means to you. I've worked with millions of people, from top athletes and CEOs to people who've hit rock bottom, and I can tell you someone absolute certainty success is not about resources, it's about resourcefulness. You don't need to have everything figured out to start. You just need to start. You don't need all the answers. You need the hunger to find them. The people who succeed are not the ones with the most resources. Refuse to give up. They use pain as fuel, fear as motivation, and failure as feedback. Sometimes life hits you hard. You lose someone. You fail, you feel betrayed, you get rejected. And in those moments, you can choose to shrink or you can choose to expand. Most people shrink, they pull back, they close off, they stop trying. But the people who grow, the people who rise, they do the opposite. Use pain as a signal to evolve. Every breakdown can become a breakthrough if you decide to make it one. You don't grow when things are easy, you grow when life challenges you. So ask yourself, meaning you're giving to your challenges right now, are you seeing them as barriers or as teachers? Because the quality of your life is the quality of the meaning you assign to your experiences. If you can learn to see life as happening for you, not to you, you'll find power in every situation. That doesn't mean you won't feel pain. It means you'll find purpose in it. Something most people forget, gratitude is the gateway to abundance. When you live in a state of appreciation, fear disappears. You can't be grateful and angry at the same time. Grateful and afraid, gratitude rewires your brain to see possibility instead of limitation. The moment you trade your expectations for appreciation, your whole world changes. You stop focusing on what's missing and start seeing what's already there. And when you live in gratitude, life gives you more to be grateful for. You are not here just to survive. You are here to grow, to give, to love, to leave fully. Growth is what makes us feel alive. When you start dying inside, the purpose of life is not to be comfortable. It's to expand, to push your limits, to discover what you're truly capable of. Every time you face fear and move through it, you expand your sense of what's possible. The truth is your emotions shape your world. The quality of your life is the quality of your emotions. You can have everything, money, success, recognition, but if you live in fear, anger, or anxiety, you'll feel poor. But if you live in joy, gratitude, love, and courage, you'll feel rich even if you have nothing. Emotions are choices. They're not automatic. You can choose your emotional home. You can train yourself to return to love, gratitude, and passion no matter what happens. Right now, in this moment, you can decide to take back control of your life. You can decide to stop letting circumstances dictate your happiness. Decide to start writing a new story. The power is not somewhere outside. It's within you. You are the author. You are the creator. You are the one who decides what your life means. A deep breath and realize this life is a gift. Every moment is a chance to start again. Every challenge is an invitation to grow. Every day is a new opportunity to show up as the best version of yourself. You don't have to wait for permission for the right time or for someone else to believe in you. You already have everything you need to create a life that inspires you. Decide today that your life will no longer be defined by your past. Decide to use every experience, good or bad, as fuel for your future. Decide to take control of your mind, your emotions, your focus, your story. When you change your story, you change your life. And when you change your life, you change the world around you. That's the real power of living consciously, passionately, and intentionally. That's the moment when life stops happening to you and starts happening for you. You know, people talk all the time about wanting to change their lives. What they don't realize is that change doesn't start with action. It starts with your story. The story you tell yourself every single day determines how you think, how you feel, and how you live. Being has a story. Some stories empower us, others imprison us. Some people tell stories that make them the victim. I always fail. No one supports me. Others tell stories that make them the heroes. This will make me stronger. I can figure this out. I was made for more. The truth is, both kinds of people live in the same world, but their stories create completely different realities. Your story is not just words, it's the lens through which you see life. When you wake up and tell yourself, I'm tired, I can't handle this, life's unfair, your brain looks for proof of that. It finds reasons to justify it. But if you wake up and say, I'm blessed, I'm capable, unstoppable, your brain looks for proof of that too. Whatever story you tell, your mind will make real. Most people think their life shapes their story, but the truth is, your story shapes your life. Think about it. Two people can go through the exact same experience and come out completely different. One loses everything and gives up. The other loses everything and builds again stronger than before. Not the event, the meaning. The story they attach to it. If your story is that life is hard and unfair, you'll always find pain. But if your story is that life is preparing you, testing you, teaching you, you'll find growth, you'll find strength, you'll find purpose. There's a time early in my career when things weren't working. I was traveling constantly, speaking anywhere I could. Small motels barely scraping by. I could have told myself a story of struggle, that it wasn't worth it, that I wasn't meant to make it. But instead, I told myself a different story. I told myself that this was training, that life was testing my commitment, that this pain would one day be the foundation of my strength. And I was right. You go through in life as fuel if you choose to use it that way. Most people don't realize how powerful their stories are. They repeat negative phrases over and over without even noticing. I'm always late. I'm not good with money. I can't lose weight. I'm not lucky. And guess what? Those are descriptions, they're instructions. Your subconscious mind listens and obeys. Whatever you consistently say and believe, it turns into your reality. The first step to transformation is becoming aware of the stories you're telling yourself and deciding to rewrite them. If you want to change your life, you must interrupt your old story. You must stop identifying with the person you were and start identifying with the person you want to become. Every day, you're rehearsing an identity, either by habit or by choice. You can choose to identify as someone who's capable, resilient, disciplined, loving, unstoppable. Or you can keep identifying as someone who's tired and stuck. Both are available. The question is, which one do you practice more often? Rewriting your story doesn't mean pretending your pain didn't happen. It means choosing to give it a new purpose. Maybe you were hurt, maybe you failed, maybe you were abandoned. But what if those experiences weren't breaking you, they were building you? What if they were shaping the strength, empathy you'll use to impact others? When you give your pain a purpose, it stops controlling you. It becomes part of your power. The greatest breakthroughs happen when people finally stop blaming and start owning. The moment you say, I'm responsible for how I show up, no matter what's happened to me, your life begins to change because responsibility equals freedom. As long as you keep blaming circumstances, people, or your past, you're giving away your power. But the moment you take ownership, you take back control. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control what you do with it. We all have moments where we hit a wall, emotionally, financially, physically. But that wall isn't there to stop you. It's there to test you. It's life asking, how bad do you want it? How much are you willing to grow? Every challenge is an invitation to evolve. Every obstacle is a mirror showing you who you need to become next. If your story is that obstacles are proof you can't win, but if your story is that obstacles are proof you're being stretched for greatness, you'll keep moving. That's the difference between people who give up and those who rise. When you start telling yourself a new story, everything begins to shift. Your emotions change, your energy changes, your behavior changes, your results change. Your story affects your state, and your state affects your destiny. You can't live a magnificent life with a miserable story. Change your state, and you change your story. Change your story, and you change your entire life. One of the simplest but most powerful things you can do is to ask yourself this question every time you face a challenge. Maybe something went wrong. Someone left you. You lost money. You got rejected. You can choose to say, this is the end. Or you can say, beginning of a better version of me. Meaning is everything. It's the invisible force that shapes your emotions and your future. You don't have to have a perfect life to have a powerful story. It's usually the struggles that make the story great. The pain you've survived becomes proof that you're stronger than you think. The failures you've overcome become lessons that guide you forward. Every scar can become a symbol of strength if you let it. Your past doesn't define you. It prepares you. The problem is never your past. The problem is the story you tell about your past. Make your past your prison, or you can make it your power. The choice is always yours. Think about your favorite movies or books. The hero always faces setbacks. There's always a moment of darkness before the triumph. That's what makes it inspiring. Without struggle, there's no growth. Without conflict, there's no transformation. Why expect your own story to be different? Life isn't supposed to be perfect. It's supposed to challenge you, shape you, strengthen you, and wake you up to who you really are. Every single day, you have the power to write a new chapter. You don't have to keep reading the old one. The past only exists when you keep bringing it in the present. The future is written in the choices you make right now. Keep telling the same old story, or you can start telling one that empowers you, one where you're the creator, not the victim, one where you rise, learn, and become everything you were meant to be. And here's something powerful. When you change your story, you don't just change your life, you inspire others to change theirs. Because your courage becomes a light for someone still stuck in their darkness. Your strength becomes someone else's hope. That's how transformation spreads. That's how we elevate each other. So stop telling yourself the story of limitation. Stop repeating the narrative of, I can't, I'm not enough, or it's too late. Those words have no power unless you give it to them. Start writing the story of possibility. Start affirming the truth of who you are: strong, capable, resourceful, determined, worthy. You've made it through everything life has thrown at you so far. You're undefeated. You're still here. The world doesn't need a person living on autopilot. The world needs people who are awake, people who know who they are, what they want, and what they're capable of. People who take their story and use it to serve others. People who live with passion and purpose. You can be that person. It all starts with the story you decide to tell yourself today. Because in the end, your story becomes your reality. Whatever you believe about yourself becomes true for you. If you want to completely change your life, you must completely change how you think about yourself and your past. You must choose to see yourself as the creator, the hero, the one in control. You must look at every challenge as a lesson. Every failure is feedback. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Your story becomes unstoppable. That's when your life becomes extraordinary. Focus is one of the most powerful forces in human life, yet most people never learn how to control it. The world decide what they focus on: social media, news, distractions, fear, and then they wonder why they feel lost or empty. But the truth is simple: whatever you focus on, you feel. And whatever you feel consistently becomes your reality. Focus is like a magnifying glass. Whatever you direct it toward grows stronger. Focus on problems and they expand. Focus on gratitude and opportunity. They expand too. The question is, where are you putting your focus every day? When people come to me and say they feel stuck, the first thing I ask them is, what are you focusing on? Because if you focus on what's missing, you'll always feel like something's wrong. But if you focus on what's available, what's possible, what's good, you'll find strength. Focus is the difference between suffering and fulfillment. It's the difference between those who achieve extraordinary things and those who live in constant frustration. People losing their jobs on the same day. One focuses on fear, on what they lost, on what might go wrong, on how unfair it is. They spiral into anxiety and paralysis. The other person focuses on possibility. They say, this is my chance to build something better. Maybe this is life pushing me to grow. The event is the same, but the focus is different, and so is the outcome. What we focus on determines how we feel. How we feel determines what we do. Your focus is like a muscle. It grows with training. You can train your mind to look for what's empowering instead of what's limiting. People don't do that. They let their focus drift wherever life takes it. They let negativity, gossip, or stress hijack their attention. You can't live an extraordinary life if you have an undisciplined mind. You got to learn to direct your focus consciously, not reactively. Every day, you're either programming your mind or being programmed by the world around you. The truth is, life will always give you reasons to feel discouraged, but it will also give you reasons to feel grateful. You get to decide which ones you focus on. Gratitude and fear can't coexist. Whichever one you feed will grow. If you start every day asking, what am I grateful for? And appreciate right now, your entire emotional state changes. You'll start feeling alive, energized, confident, and hopeful, not because life got easier, but because your focus got wiser. When I was younger, I didn't have the life I have today. There were times when I had nothing, no money, no resources, just hunger and determination. But even back then, I learned something crucial. Turn scarcity into abundance. If you focus on what you can't control, you feel powerless. But if you focus on what you can do, on what's within your reach, you gain momentum. You begin to see possibilities that weren't visible before. Your focus creates your state, and your state creates your story. Most people think their emotions are random, but emotions are the result of focus. focus on everything that's wrong, you'll feel anxious, angry, or sad. If you focus on what you can control, what you can learn, and what you can appreciate, you'll feel strong. Your emotions are just a reflection of your focus. Shift your focus and your emotions will follow. You can't control the weather, traffic, or other people, but you can always control where your attention goes. You can choose to focus on your goals, on your growth, on your mission. The human mind is designed to find what it's told. If you tell it, I can't do this, it will find proof. If you tell it, I will figure this out, it will find ways. Your brain is a powerful servant, but terrible master. You must learn to direct it consciously. Think of focus as a flashlight in a dark room. Wherever you shine it, if you point it at your fears, you'll be surrounded by them. If you point it at your dreams, you'll start seeing opportunities. The problem is that most people don't realize they're holding the flashlight. They think the darkness is permanent. But all it takes is to shift your focus and suddenly the whole picture changes. What you focus on also affects your physiology. When you focus on stress or failure, your body tightens, your breathing shortens, and your energy drops. But when you focus on purpose, love, and gratitude, your breathing deepens, your confidence rises. You literally change your chemistry by changing your focus. That's the power you have right now in every moment. Let's take an example. Think about the last time you were in a really bad mood. Maybe you were angry, stressed, or disappointed. In that moment, what were you focusing on? Chances are you were focusing on what someone did wrong or what you couldn't control. Now think about the last time you felt joyful, powerful, unstoppable. What were you focusing on then? You were probably thinking about what you were grateful for, achieve who you loved, what you were excited about. Same person, same world, different focus, different experience. So how do you take control of your focus? You do it by asking better questions. The questions you ask yourself direct your focus automatically. Most people ask questions like, why does this always happen to me? Or, what's wrong with me? Those questions lead your mind to negative answers. But if you start asking, what can I learn from this? How can I use this? What's great about this that I'm not seeing yet? Your focus shifts instantly. You start seeing solutions instead of problems. The quality of your life is the quality of the questions you ask yourself. Ask small questions and you live a small life. Ask powerful questions and you'll unlock your potential. When things go wrong, train yourself to focus on progress, not perfection. Focus on effort, not excuses. Focus on gratitude, not resentment. It's not about ignoring problems. It's about directing your attention toward growth instead of fear. We all have mental habits that shape our focus. Some people are addicted to stress, others to comparison, complaining. If you want to change your focus, you've got to break those habits. Every time you catch yourself focusing on what's wrong, interrupt it. Take a deep breath, shift your body. Question, what's the truth here? What can I do right now that moves me forward? Your brain will follow wherever your focus goes. Focus also determines your relationships. Constantly focus on what your partner or family member does wrong. You'll find endless reasons to be upset. But if you focus on what you love, appreciate, and admire, your heart opens. Love grows where attention flows. Gratitude is the oxygen of connection. The same principle applies to your career. Focus on what's missing, and you'll burn out. Focus on how you can serve, how you can improve, grow, and you'll thrive. In moments of uncertainty, focus becomes your anchor. Life will test you. Things won't always go as planned. But if you can discipline your focus to stay on faith, on action, on meaning, nothing can break you. Problems lose their power when your focus is stronger than your fear. It's not that successful people don't have problems. They just focus differently. They don't waste energy worrying about what they can't control. They pour their energy into creating, serving, and moving forward. If you train yourself to focus on the good, you'll find that your entire perception of life changes. You'll start noticing opportunities that were always there. You'll see beauty in ordinary moments. You'll begin to attract people and experiences that align with your energy. Focus is magnetic. It draws into your life what you consistently hold in your mind. You can start right now. Focus on something you're grateful for. Feel it deeply. Let it fill your body. Notice how instantly your energy changes. That's the power you have at any moment. To shift from stress to strength, to faith, from scarcity to abundance. Life is not about what happens. It's about what you choose to focus on when it happens. When you learn to control your focus, you take control of your emotions. When you take control of your emotions, you take control of your life. Every breakthrough, every achievement, every moment of joy begins with a shift in focus. The world may throw challenges your way. As long as you control your focus, you'll always find a way through. You'll stop living reactively and start living intentionally. Because in the end, it's not the events of your life that define you. It's what you choose to focus on that shapes who you become. Emotions are the invisible force that drives every decision you make, every relationship you build, every action you take. You can have all the knowledge, all the strategy, all the opportunities in the world, but if your emotions are out of control, your life will feel out of control too. People often think that success is about having the right plan or the right tools, but real success starts with mastering your inner world. Because no matter how beautiful your life looks on the outside, it will never feel fulfilling if you don't learn how to master what's happening on the inside. The quality of your life is the quality of your emotions. Most people don't realize that their emotions are choices. They believe emotions just happen to them like waves that come and go without control. But the truth is you can choose how to feel. You can condition your emotions the same way you condition your body. If you want to live with more joy, more gratitude, more peace, you must train those emotions daily until they become your natural state. Most people practice stress, frustration, more than they practice happiness or appreciation. Whatever you practice becomes your emotional home. The question is, what emotional home are you living in? You know, someone who's always angry no matter what happens, right? And someone else who's always happy even when life is hard. It's not luck, it's conditioning. They've built a habit of emotion. One has practiced anger, the other has practiced joy. You're training your emotional state every single day, whether you know it or not. The problem is are unconsciously practicing emotions that weaken them. If you wake up and immediately check your phone, scroll through the news, compare your life to others, you're training anxiety, stress, and dissatisfaction. But if you start your day with gratitude, movement, and intention, you're training peace, energy, and confidence. Emotions are not random. They're the result of your focus, your physiology, and your meaning. When you change any of those three, your emotion changes instantly. If you want to feel powerful, stand tall, breathe deeply, focus on what you're grateful for, give empowering meaning to your challenges. Within seconds, your entire state shifts. But if you slump your shoulders, breathe shallowly, and focus on what's wrong, your body and mind will produce feelings of fear or sadness automatically. You can't control every thought that comes into your head, but you can control what you do with it. One of the most powerful things I've ever learned is that you can't always control your circumstances, but you can always control your state. Your emotional state determines your behavior, and your behavior determines your results. If you're in a fearful, tired, or angry state, you'll make poor decisions. But if you're in a confident, loving, or grateful state, you'll make empowering ones to create an extraordinary life while living in a negative emotional state. You have to train yourself to return to power no matter what's happening. I've worked with athletes, entrepreneurs, and everyday people, and the pattern is always the same. The ones who thrive are not those with perfect conditions. They're the ones who mastered their emotional conditioning. Life throws storms at everyone. If who've trained their emotions stay centered, calm and driven even when everything falls apart, they've built an inner muscle of emotional control. They don't let fear dictate their destiny. They don't let pain turn into paralysis. They use emotions as signals, not sentences. Every emotion you feel is a message. Fear says, pay attention. Anger says, boundary has been crossed. Sadness says, you've lost something valuable. Joy says, you're aligned with what matters. The problem isn't the emotion itself. It's getting stuck in it. You're not meant to live in fear or anger. You're meant to acknowledge it, learn from it, move forward. Emotions are feedback, not identity. You feel them, but you are not them. If you want to change your emotional life, you must become aware of your patterns. Notice what emotions you live in most often. Is it frustration? Worry. Excitement? Gratitude? Whatever emotion you live in most of the time becomes the atmosphere of your life. You can't have a peaceful life while living in constant irritation. You can't have a joyful life while living in judgment. You can't have a passionate relationship if you're always defensive. Choose the emotions that align with the life you want to create. Gratitude is one of the most powerful emotional states because it dissolves fear instantly. You can't be grateful and angry at the same time. You can't be grateful and afraid. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's already here. It reminds you of how far you've come, how much you've survived, of how many blessings you already have. And when you live in gratitude, life gives you more to be grateful for. Emotionally, gratitude is like armor. It protects you from negativity, comparison, and despair. Love is another emotion that transforms everything it touches. When you make decisions from love for your family, for your mission, for humanity, you feel unstoppable. Love removes the limits that fear creates. It's impossible to serve, to lead, or to create at your highest level without love. Fear closes you, love expands you. Fear sees danger, love sees possibility. Condition love just like you can condition confidence or joy. It starts with giving. When you give freely, your time, your energy, your kindness, you awaken love inside you. The fastest way to feel love is to give it without expectation. You also have to learn emotional recovery, the ability to bounce back quickly when things go wrong. Everyone feels negative emotions sometimes, but emotionally strong people don't stay there. They have rituals that bring them back to strength. Music, movement, breathing, lauder, gratitude. You can't wait for motivation to come. You have to generate it. You can't wait for peace to appear. You have to create it. Emotional mastery isn't about never feeling down. It's about learning how to rise fast. The truth is emotions are energy in motion. Suppress them, they turn to tension, anxiety, or exhaustion. But when you release them consciously, they become fuel. Anger can become drive. Fear can become focus. Sadness can become empathy. Every emotion, when understood, can serve you. But if you ignore or fight them, they'll control you. Awareness gives you power. Compassion gives you control. The greatest leaders, the happiest people, the most fulfilled souls on earth, they've learned how to master their emotional state. They know how to switch from fear to faith, from stress to strength, from worry to wonder. They've trained their nervous system to return to power automatically. That's not luck, it's repetition. The more you practice emotional strength, the faster you recover, the less you suffer, And the more peace you experience, you can start mastering your emotions by changing 3 simple things: your body, your focus, and your language. Move your body differently, stand taller, breathe deeper, smile more. Change your focus. Look for what's working, what you can appreciate, and change your language. Stop saying, I'm stressed, I'm tired, I'm broken. Those words trap you. Instead, I'm challenged but growing, I'm learning, I'm becoming stronger. The words you speak create the emotions you feel. Your emotional life is your responsibility. No one else can manage it for you. If you wait for people to behave a certain way before you feel good, you'll always be at the mercy of others. Emotional freedom begins when you decide that no one and nothing can take your peace away without your permission. You get to decide how you feel. You get to decide how you show up. And when you live with emotional mastery, life opens up. You become calm under pressure, compassionate in chaos, grateful in difficulty. You become the kind of person who radiates peace and power everywhere you go. People will feel they'll trust you, follow you, be inspired by you, because true strength isn't loud. It's the quiet confidence of someone who's mastered their inner world. In the end, all human beings are searching for the same emotions: love, joy, peace, connection, purpose. Everything we do, every goal, every dream is driven by the desire to feel something. And when you realize that you can create those emotions within yourself at any moment, you become truly free. You no longer chase happiness. You generate it. You no longer depend on circumstances. You command them. You no longer wait for life to feel good. Decide to feel good now. The moment you understand that emotions are choices, that you are not your feelings, but the master of them, that's the moment everything changes. You master your emotions, you master your destiny, you stop being a victim of circumstance and become the creator of your experience. That's where true power lies. Not in control of the world, control yourself.